We just got the Bitcoin spot ETF approval, which is a major milestone for the crypto industry. But a new narrative is now starting to present itself, and of course, that is Ethereum ahead of its own potential spot ETF approval, alongside a raft of other positive catalysts for ETH and the Ethereum ecosystem. So in today's show, I'm going to discuss the thesis behind why ETH could already be on its path to riches in 2024 with a potential price target of $7,000. I'm also going to discuss why the Ethereum rally might only just be beginning, what the ETH rotation could lead to, the specific altcoins that I'm eyeing within the Ethereum ecosystem, and also what I'm doing right now. I'm going to give you my full watch list from the coins that I mention in today's video, so make sure you stick around to the end to get access to my custom Ethereum watch list. And if you do enjoy content like this, make sure to click the subscribe button down below and also hit that post notification bell so you don't miss a single video. I do my best every single week to provide you with crypto alpha, and hopefully by watching these shows, you can become a more successful and more profitable investor in 2024. I actually released a video just 8 days ago on this channel which outlined my crypto predictions for 2024. I also did a subsequent tweet, and in that video, one of my big predictions for the year was that ETH would make a strong comeback versus Bitcoin. I said that ETH, for the best part of 2023, bled against Bitcoin, but I'm expecting a shift in sentiment as the ETH ETF narrative gains traction, and then the Denkun or EIP 4844 upgrade rolls out. Many are fading it, but I believe it will take people by surprise. And 2 weeks prior to that prediction that I made, I also did a long form tweet, as you can see in front of you, which said that we were currently in the Ethereum is dead stage of the cycle, and that eventually things would turn, and I said, fade Ethereum at your own peril. So I basically listed the reasons why I was bullish on ETH and why I thought this Ethereum is dead narrative was just that, another narrative in the market. And that, alongside the 2024 prediction, was exactly what has started to unfold over the last week or so, with Ethereum pumping over 25%, which for a major like Ethereum is a significant rally since the time of that tweet and since my prediction video. So it's another reminder that peak FUD leads to peak opportunity in the market. If you're bullish on an ecosystem, if you know an ecosystem has strong future catalysts, then don't let temporary FUD cloud your judgment, and in fact, use that as a time to position yourself. That's what I did with Ethereum. I opened a few different positions, some altcoin positions across the alts like Arbitrum and Pendle. We're going to get into all of those altcoins and what I think they're going to do next in just a couple minutes here. But what I also did was I set up some DCA bots and some long bots over on my exchange accounts, one of which, as you can see in front of you, is up over 84%. So what I've started incorporating into my investing a little bit more over the last few weeks is when I'm bullish on a narrative or thesis, I've been opening these grid bots which automatically buy and sell based on predetermined levels. And because I was pretty firm on Ethereum having a comeback, I did open up this long position on a Martingale futures DCA bot. If you want to see my strategy when it comes to approaching these bots, let me know in the comments below, and maybe in the future I can do a dedicated video which shows you how to set up these bots based on what is happening in the market. And if you want to trade any of the altcoins I'm going to mention in today's video, or Ethereum, or just any coin in the market, you can do so on BitGet. Right now, I'm running a special promotion for anyone that uses the link in the description. You will get access to a $1,000 welcome pack that you can claim on the exchange as soon as you sign up. That simply requires you to complete a bunch of basic tasks like signing up for the exchange, doing your identity verification, trading for the first time, and hitting certain milestones on the exchange. So if you want access to that welcome pack, and also the opportunity to spin the Wheel of Fortune, as you can see in front of you, which can give you free coins or free USDT, you can use the link in the description below to sign up for a BitGet account. So Jordi Alexander, one of my good friends in the space and also CEO and founder of Selene Capital, which is a crypto fund. He's a guy that I really respect, and he's into the Ethereum ecosystem and altcoins. He said that his price target for Ethereum in 2024 was between $6,000 and $7,000, as you can see here. So Jordi is very bullish on the ETH ecosystem, and his thesis is really extrapolated around the idea that at some point this year, we're going to see an Ethereum supply shock based on the demand for Ethereum, which is now being aided by catalysts such as the Ethereum spot ETF, alongside bull market conditions which could lead to simply there not being enough Ethereum on the market, resulting in a squeeze to the upside. I've gone further with this theory and outlined some of the points that underpin my core thesis for 2024. The first of which is, of course, the Ethereum ETF. Now that the Bitcoin spot ETF is approved, there is this new narrative starting to kick into gear where people are now positioning themselves for the Ethereum spot ETF. And this is one of the main reasons why I was actually opening Ethereum long positions when I did that video and I did that tweet, because I knew that attention, because crypto is all about mastering the attention game, was going to start shifting from Bitcoin into Ethereum. So BlackRock officially had their Bitcoin spot ETF approved, and their track record is exemplary when it comes to ETF approvals, with 576 out of 577 historic approvals. Of course, they also filed for an Ethereum ETF, and many of the other big players that also filed for Bitcoin are jumping on board the Ethereum train. As a result of this newfound hype behind this narrative, post-Bitcoin ETF, we have seen open interest. I'm looking at this on VeloData, which is an amazing website for viewing analytical centralized exchange data. We can see has significantly upticked over the last week, and this is starting to show the early signs to me of an ETF rotation. Point 2 in my core thesis for 2024 is the Den Kun upgrade, which is set to reduce the fees on layer 2s by an order of magnitude. The early models have suggested a 95 to 99% decrease over time in the gas fees due to this upgrade. And obviously this is a huge achievement because it means Ethereum layer 2s will become much cheaper. And we know Ethereum's roadmap is now leaning towards this L2 centric scaling model, as they've kind of gone away from other potential models of scaling such as sharding. So it's a really integral part of Ethereum adoption, and it makes layer 2s like Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon a lot cheaper to use comparatively to other networks like Solana, Injective, and Sei, which are all super cheap and have started to gain a lot more traction. So it's important for the overall Ethereum ecosystem, that upgrade. You also have the underperformance of Ethereum versus Bitcoin and other L1s. This is something I alluded to in my prediction that I told you about earlier in the video, just the simple fact that Ethereum in 2023 majorly underperformed. And historically, when Ethereum does go through these periods of underperformance, it does end up turning the other way. So we have had positive signs that ETH BTC has started to reverse over the past week or so. But I do think overall, if we even look at Ethereum at today's prices, and we'll get into my price analysis in a couple minutes here, Ethereum relative to a lot of other L1s is still massively underperformed and does still have a lot of room to the upside just on a relative basis to the market. And when you think about it from a risk perspective, Ethereum is lower in market cap. So theoretically, Ethereum should actually, in percentage terms, be outperforming Bitcoin. So the fact that it's also underperformed in percentage terms, even though it should technically be outperforming, it almost means it's double underperforming, right? And that's also an opportunity because it means when you see Ethereum reprice, it can more aggressively reprice to the upside versus an asset like Bitcoin, which has a much larger market capitalization. That's just a standard example of market caps and the amount of inflows that it takes to move price. And the last point that I think is a major part of my core thesis, and I know it was a major part of Jordi's thesis as well, is the fact that Ethereum is deflationary. And this is certainly in a bull run a very, very good thing when it comes to the supply dynamics for Ethereum, because you have more and more Ethereum being burnt. Since the merge, we've only seen Ethereum become more deflationary, now sitting at an annualized deflationary percentage of minus 0.2%, meaning the Ethereum supply at current burn levels is burning by 0.2% every single year. So Ethereum was inflationary, and now you see, as there's more network activity, more Ethereum being burnt. So in a bull run environment, so if we believe the Bitcoin ETF or the Ethereum ETF is going to lead to the widespread adoption of crypto and also trading volume in crypto, then this is an amazing thing for ETH, because any transaction that's being settled on the Ethereum network via any decentralized exchange, of course, burns ETH. And in order to facilitate those swaps, you need liquidity providers to actually provide ETH in LPs, which means you guessed it, higher APRs for stakers, thus incentivizing more people to lock up ETH. Not only this, but the Ethereum staking ratio only sits in the mid-20s, I think around 25%, compared to things like Cardano, which have a 50% or higher staking ratio. So there's still a long ways to go when it comes to Ethereum proof of stake staking ratios as well. So you have Ethereum being deflationary, you have this compounding with the fact that there is more demand for Ethereum through a spot ETF, and then you also have the fact that all of this is happening in tandem with the rise of Ethereum staking, and we've recently seen narratives like liquid staking and even more recently restaking, which is something I'm going to talk about soon, start to really pop up as amazing viable alternatives to stake ETH. And these more attractive propositions through maintaining Ethereum liquidity for the average retail user to be able to stake with less barriers to entry, which is what liquid staking offers, is only going to be good for the overall percentage of Ethereum actually being staked in the long run. So I think in the short term, people tend to overestimate performance, but over the long term, severely underestimate the impacts of some of these structural changes in the market that have been facilitated by the Shanghai upgrade. So now let's get into price. Let's have a look at the charts and have a look at what the Ethereum ETF could potentially do for price. And then after that, I'm going to go through some of the ecosystem plays that I am currently evaluating, also with some buying opportunities for you guys to get involved in what I think could be a broader rotation in the Ethereum ecosystem, which also has many positive effects for other altcoins in the market as well. So you can see that the Ethereum ETF has a final deadline of May 23rd. This is for the VanEck Spot ETH ETF. You also have ARK21 shares, you have Grayscale, you have Investco iShares, which is BlackRock, and then you have Fidelity's Ethereum fund as well. They have deadlines slightly later down the track. But what we did see with Bitcoin is that once one is approved, all of them tend to be approved at once. So what happened with Bitcoin from its ETF filing date all the way to the ETF approval date? Well, Bitcoin, from the time of filing until its official approval, and the SEC delayed and delayed and delayed, which I expect to be the case on Ethereum as well, Bitcoin rose 88% during this period. If we look at Ethereum at the time of filing, which was on November 15th, was the first filing, and that's when BlackRock and others began to file, to a potential approval date, which as we determined is set for mid-May, you can see that the same price performance from Bitcoin, which was the 88%, would take Ethereum up to $3,600. So if you assume Ethereum's going to run the Bitcoin playbook again, that would mean we see a 3.6k ETH. So if this does end up being the case in the more immediate future by May, this would obviously be a fantastic result when it comes to the ecosystem, because if ETH almost doubles in price, you're going to see a lot of the ecosystem alts triple, quadruple, 5x, 10x. It would obviously be a massive catalyst, not only for those alts, but for the altcoin market in general. Because you have to remember, when it comes to Ethereum, Ethereum is the main settlement token that people use on the ETH network. So when they're swapping in and out of alts, they use ETH. So when ETH pumps massively in price, a lot of people that participate on-chain get richer, and a lot of those people, after making significant profits, tend to rotate those profits into other altcoins. So Ethereum, even if it just goes to 3,600, would be absolutely massive for the altcoin market, and you really, really will see fireworks. So this is your bull case in the immediate future. Obviously, in the slightly longer term future, looking at 2024 as a whole, if Bitcoin continues to perform well, and of course it's going to have its bumps, but if it generally follows an upwards trajectory, then I think the Ethereum price target of $7,000 starts to make more sense. And it may seem ludicrous at face value, $7,000 ETH, that's absolutely crazy, but it does follow pretty closely the Bitcoin and Ethereum cycle fractals. If Bitcoin hits 60k and Ethereum gains a little bit of dominance ground with this entire ETF and also some of the supply dynamics that I discussed before, 7k is a foreseeable target for Ethereum. I think Ethereum hits it one day. Whether it happens as soon as some are suggesting, I'm not quite sure, but I definitely think this 3,600 target is a realistic one if we just simply map out the Bitcoin to the Ethereum price performance. So now let's discuss some of the biggest beneficiaries in the short term leading up to this ETF, and also now that there's been a slight narrative shift from Bitcoin into Ethereum, and then let's talk a bit broader after that. So in the more short term, I'm definitely looking at a lot of these ETH proxies as interesting trades. I've already started taking positions in Arbitrum. That's been one I've been talking about for a while. I think about a month back in my portfolio video, I said I was accumulating Arbitrum. That's been great. I've been adding to that position alongside Optimism. The EIP 4844 trade actually benefits the L2s more than ETH itself. So if anything, not only are these higher beta, but they are probably closer to the beta. One of the main narratives, which is EIP, obviously not the ETF, but EIP is a strong narrative. Another sector I'm really interested in is liquid staking and restaking. A lot of restaking protocols are now launching. I think there's opportunities there, but I also think there's opportunities across some of the existing LSDs. You've got Rockapool Frax is one of my favorite tokens. I've talked about it many times. From a long-term perspective, Lido is a decent proxy bet as well. One of my absolute favorites, before I give you my entire list that you can actually go and save yourself, is Pendle. Pendle's really done a good job of capturing the upside of the liquid staking derivatives ecosystem, and it's responding very, very well in price, being considered, an ETH beta proxy bet, but it also has some amazing fundamentals, and this is one that I could see trading a lot higher at some point this year. I don't know exactly when. I can't predict the markets exactly when they're going to pump, but this has definitely been one that I've been accumulating, especially in the chop. If you don't have exposure to a token and you want exposure to it, my general rule is wait for extreme red days for your major DCAs. But if you really want to FOMO into a token and you're super bullish, then there's generally nothing wrong with getting 20 to 30% of your ideal position in. And that kind of eradicates the FOMO and allows you to more accurately assess your future DCAs with less bias because you're already in a position. And it also is good for the mental interest of trading too. So those are some of the coins I'm focusing on specifically. As you can see here, I've created an entire list of ETH narrative coins that I believe could perform really strongly over the coming weeks and months leading into this ETF, especially if this trade continues. So I'm going to leave a link in the description below to TradingView so you can go and actually check this out yourself for your convenience. I'm going to leave it below. And if you do want to trade any of these tokens and you're looking for a place to trade, I believe BitGet has all of these tokens listed, which is absolutely amazing. So if you want a one-stop shop to trade these tokens, there's a link in the description to BitGet. And of course, by signing up, you'll get access to that $1,000 welcome pack that you can claim alongside the lucky wheel that you can spin to win USDT and other prizes. So link in the description below if you want to trade any of these altcoins because they're all listed in one handy place. So let's talk about the broader implications. I touched on it before, but certainly Ethereum being a settlement token on a lot of these major chains, the EVM chains, means that profit taking certainly does impact the altcoin market. So we are now starting to see this wealth effect from the Bitcoin pump flow down into ETH. I've always believed and I've always witnessed the ETH to altcoin rotations being even stronger because you can't trade Bitcoin natively on chain, right? So no on-chain season is ever really going to derive from a Bitcoin pump. People speculate on altcoins being the next proxy, but there's no actual rotationary effect from Bitcoin into a lot of altcoins on chain. Whereas Ethereum there is, because it's a major settlement token. It's in many of the LPs and people trade and denominate their on-chain portfolios in ETH. I do as well. I hold a lot of ETH on chain and I denominate a lot of my trading portfolio in ETH. So this is very, very positive for altcoins. And I think if this rally keeps up, there are a few verticals that I would be strongly considering keeping your eye on. And I'm going to talk about them over the next few weeks. But one thing that I'm really paying attention to right now is new IDOs. So if this can give the next kick that the market needs to maintain bullish sentiment, and certainly that would happen with an ETH rotation because many people have just been waiting for ETH to play ball and now it finally is. This is very positive for IDOs because new launches in the market benefit from market sentiment more so than anything else. So one thing that I've been doing is staking, and there's a variety of platforms you can do this on, but one I like is Seedify. I've been staking S-Fund on the platform in order to get access to their new IGOs. They focus primarily on crypto gaming. Sometimes you see crossover projects launching there too, but crypto gaming being a narrative that retail really resonates with and understands is certainly a good one if you can get into these projects early. A few of them that I'm really looking forward to is Bloodloop. I think that looks really cool. Storm Warfare as well, and I know they're doing a bunch of other IDOs as well in the future. So if you do want to get access to these IDOs, all you need to do is stake the S-Fund token. So you would need to firstly buy the token. You can do so on BitGet, and then you can go over to S-Fund, so bridge it to the BNB chain, or Ethereum and Arbitrum, where you can also access CeDeFi, and then you simply stake. You can choose your lockup amount. The longer you lock it up, the more of a bonus you get, and obviously the more you stake, the bigger weighting in the pools you're going to get for these IDOs. So that's something I'm doing in order to get access to IDOs. The super interesting about CeDeFi too is it has the dynamic with its token, because the more demand there is for IDOs, the more S-Fund is locked up. And right now you can see that 36 million S-Fund is actually being staked and farmed versus the circulating supply of 59 mil. So we talked about Ethereum before having a 25% staking ratio. S-Fund is bordering on a 70% staking ratio, which is absolutely massive. And you could see here on June Analytics how much is actually being staked in real time. So S-Fund's an interesting one, and TA is also backing up the bullishness for the token as well, considering the fact you've had the breakout of this major resistance level at the $3 level. This is now starting to form a bull flag. You had 2 successful retests, and it's now bouncing strongly. So technically speaking, this is looking really, really strong, this chart. And also accessibility wise, the access it gives you to these IDOs is also a massive plus as well. I'm going to leave a link in the description to CeDeFi below if you do want to check it out. So one of the major lessons here is, with market sentiment improving, do not fade these new launches. There are many new launches I'm watching. I might even do a video later this week or next week detailing all of the new launches. If you do want my video on unreleased coins, let me know in the comments below. I'm happy to make a video of, let's say, 10 upcoming launches that I'm looking forward to. But I'll run through a couple today while you're here, give you a bit of alpha. So on the 19th of January, one of the launches I'm watching closely, and I'm also invested for full transparency, is Satoshi VM. Now, Satoshi VM is basically a ZK powered layer 2 for Bitcoin, and gas is actually paid in Bitcoin. So this is underneath the breadth of the Bitcoin DeFi narrative, which, as you know, if you watch my predictions video, is one of my top narratives for 2024. And in light of that, I'm always looking for new launches in this ecosystem. And I think this certainly fits a very, very strong need in the market, and I think it's going to launch super hot out of the gates. So if you do want to participate in the IDO there, they're launching on the Bounce Launchpad on the 19th of January. Go and give them a follow on Twitter, Satoshi VM, so you stay up to date with all of the latest announcements. So this is one that I'm really interested in, and I think can be a strong performer for those who get in early. I'm also looking at Subsquid. Now, Subsquid is basically like the Graph. It's an indexing protocol. They call themselves a Web3 data lake, which efficiently indexes blockchain data. And it's one of the fastest and most cost-effective applications in the indexing sector. If you do look at the Graph, for example, it's at a $2 billion fully diluted valuation. On a relative basis, that is the potential that a project like Subsquid has. And of course, they're launching closer to the $100 million region. So that would be a 20x if it did get up to the Graph. In terms of the tech side, I'm not a developer, but from what I've seen and the devs that I've spoken to, they say that the technology behind this genuinely does present an upgrade compared to a lot of their competitors, which is why I think this can be a really, really good one. So on January 18th, they have their official IDO on CoinList. If you do want to participate, you've only got 4 more days until January 15th to actually register. So if you do want to register, I'll leave a link in the description below, and then you can get access to their IDO. So these are just a couple of the IDOs that I'm currently looking out for in the near future, but there are many, many more to come, and I'll make sure to keep you updated. Once again, if you do want that video of unreleased projects, I can do a full list which encompasses the next 6 months. But in the immediate future, I wanted to tell you guys about these ones right now because they are the ones that are coming up in the most immediate future. So look, the Ethereum narrative is looking super promising. I'm pretty bullish on Ethereum in the short to medium term. I also am significantly up on my ETH positions. So I'm not adding crazy amounts now because there's no need. I've already got really strong positions that are up. And of course, I'm raising my stop losses and taking risk management measures there. But for the people that aren't in, there are new opportunities, especially in that ETH ecosystem, which I've linked in the description below. And if you do want to trade any of those coins, of course, you can do so on BitGet and claim that $1,000 welcome pack. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I've got some amazing content coming over the next week or so. So stay tuned for that. And I hope all of you have a lovely rest of your day. Peace out.